Welcome back to another episode of Stacking Dennys. I'm Jordan McAbee of Rotoballer. My co-host Nick Giffen of the Action Network. Kyle Larson puts on an absolutely dominating effort at the Charlotte Roval, gets the victory of the Bank of America Roval 400 after SVG was a very heavy betting favorite heading into that race on Sunday. Playoff drivers, Christopher Bell, William Byron, Austin Cindric, Chase Elliott rounding out the top five before AJ Allmendinger, SVG, Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace sneaks into the top 10, as does Ryan Blaney and other playoff drivers. Guys that are eliminated. No surprise. Chase Briscoe, Daniel Suarez, Cindric, despite that fourth place effort, and Alex Bowman, after a post-race disqualification due to the car being too light. He gets credited with a 38th place finish. Joey Logano gets into the round of 8. We'll start there. That was some surprising news, and I think I was even more surprised that Hendrick Motorsports decided not to appeal it. What about you?
Yeah, very surprised. Don't know what happened there, obviously. I don't know the specifics of the being overweight part of it. But yeah, they didn't appeal, so clearly they did something wrong. And I thought it was pretty funny. They apologized to NASCAR, to the fans, to whoever. They didn't apologize to Alex Bowman because that's not Alex Bowman's fault. So,
yeah,
just one of those things there where Bowman got screwed by his team and cost him a chance at a championship.
Yeah, and he's arguably had one of probably the most consistent postseason so far. Had another great run, before the disqualification. He won the first stage. And they kind of, the second half of that race, they were out there running around trying not to wreck. They weren't really pushing too hard, but yeah, that sucks for that team. Once again, we get 2 Penske cars in the final 8 instead of all 4 Hendrick cars. We get 3 of them in the final 8, but in the end, when we look at this round of 8 and the 8 remaining drivers, these are arguably the strongest 8 drivers in the field. I think you could swap Alex Bowman and Joey Logano. They're pretty, Logano had a weaker season, but overall, I'd put them relatively equal with the way Penske turns things up in the playoffs. But, for the people that say that this playoff format is flawed, it's working pretty good because we have the 8 best drivers, I think, this year in the final 8. And now we have a round of no gimmicks, no crazy races. We have Las Vegas, Homestead, and Martinsville to determine who gets into the championship 4. Obviously kicking things off this weekend with Las Vegas. But yeah, Kyle Larson gets another win this season. He was also the winner at Las Vegas earlier this year. He's the heavy betting favorite heading into this weekend's race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But overall, are you as glad as I am, Nick, of that we are done with road courses this year? Because God, that one was tough to watch. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, that was not a good one. I don't know if I'm glad we're done with the road courses because I love road course racing, but it hasn't been great this year or with this car. Coda was pretty good, especially with the little charge that Christopher Bell made at the end, made it interesting, and there was some fall off. Watkins Glen had fall off, but for some reason, it just wasn't very good. Chicago was good. And Sonoma was pretty meh. As I don't really remember it. Let's put it that way. Not because I shouldn't remember it. Just I don't think it was very spectacular or anything. But yeah, I mean, looking at Jeff Gluck's good race poll, the 4 Roval races prior to the next gen all scored really high in the 85% or above, and 3 in the next gen car all below 60%. So it tells you it's the car. It has to be the car. I mean, the car sucks for road courses, for short tracks, for flat tracks. The car sucks. For intermediates, it's amazing. So I'm glad we're going to an intermediate this week.
Yep, same. But it's definitely, it's pretty much ruined. Most of that race this past weekend, the running order didn't change. Pretty much the only time that people could actually pass was if they dive bombed into that hairpin turn. I forget what number it was. I think it was like 7 or something. And obviously, the new track layout, it did make some difference. We saw Alex Bowman jump like 1.5 feet, 2 feet in the air. We saw Reddick get some air. We saw people dive bomb into that corner, but that was really the only place that they could pass. That was really the only place that that there could have been any action. And other than that, it was pretty much follow each other. And with it being a playoff race, that also decreased the aggressiveness of a lot of drivers. So overall, like all of the aspects that were going into this race kind of just made it was just disappointing, I'd say. Even with the low expectations that I had going into that race weekend. But were you surprised that Larson was so dominant?
No, he's Larson. He's Larson at a road course. And I wanted to bet him just like I bet Bell and Byron, who of course finished second and third.
Yeah.
But he was just shorter, and it could have been any one of those three, honestly. It was just, Larson was like 7, and Bell and Byron were 12 and 14 or whatever it was. So it's just one of those spots where I would love to have bet Larson, but he was just so much shorter that, early week I couldn't do it, and then post-practice and qualifying couldn't do it either. So just one of those spots, especially with, Dinger and SVG starting first and third or whatever it was. So just one of those where got pretty close to, a profitable day. I still hit whatever it was. I hit some bet above a top 10, which I took a pretty large position on because I had a huge edge on that one. So it kind of broke me even there, but it's probably, I've lost count the number of times I've finished second and the number of times I finished second and third on my outrights in the same race. It's been so ridiculous this year.
Our picks to win last week were Bell and Byron, second and third.
Yeah.
So, one guy that almost, had to come charging through the field at the end and ended up getting in was Tyler Reddick. I want to talk about their strategy because they stayed out to win a stage and then got mired back in traffic, which, the broadcast, I understand why they did it. They wanted the points. They wanted more of a cushion. But the broadcast made an extra interesting point when they were staying out, and they said Reddick could pit here from the lead and still finish like 5th or 6th in that stage. And then when Reddick got caught up in that mess right after the restart, it really made I almost wanted him to not make it into the next round because of that. Because I thought that strategy was dumb. I thought it would have been a lot safer with how important track position is at these road course races. I feel like it would have been a lot safer to play that game. But that I will admit that was kind of fun to watch Reddick, charge his way through the field. I do feel like, when he got to Hamlin, I feel like Hamlin let him by. I feel like a lot of these guys kind of moved over a little bit for him, but Reddick, obviously regular season champ, those 5 points extra from him finishing first instead of second, if Larson would have ran Charlotte, Reddick would have finished second. Actually ended up being the difference in him making the round of 8. I saw a tweet. Just like the difference could have been with Logano actually winning Richmond, could have made a difference. So just goes back to, how important the regular season actually is, how important these race wins are. And then, obviously now Kyle Larson gets 5 more playoff points. Reddick got 1 more playoff point. Larson has a huge points gap to start off this round. Everyone else is pretty close, but Larson's pretty far ahead. And like I said, he's the heavy favorite heading into Las Vegas this weekend, rightfully so. Has been very good at these racetracks so far. But you have anything else on any other takeaways from the Charlotte Roval?
Yeah, it was interesting to see who, I guess, there was that caution right in the middle of stage 2. It was interesting to see who came in under that caution. I was surprised that, more drivers didn't come in during that, because that seemed to be a really good strategy for Allmendinger, for Bubba Wallace. A couple of those drivers did that. And it worked out for them. They could have done the same thing where they come in 2 laps before the end of the stage, but you do that and then you go behind all those people that came in partway through stage 2, right?
Right.
Yeah, you have fresher tires, but tires weren't a huge difference this weekend, especially in the Cup Series. They were in Xfinity more. So I was surprised by that a little bit, I guess, but it still ended up working out for those guys, the Byrons, Bells, Larsons, etc., because Allmendinger and those guys stayed out. But then they came in really early in stage 3 and just didn't end up, having a race winning strategy there. But I was surprised a few others didn't try it because it could have had some implications there. I know obviously the points drivers couldn't do it, but as far as like the race winning drivers, I was surprised some of them didn't. But yeah, just an interesting strategy. It was one that definitely helped out Bubba Wallace there because he had that penalty which set him back, and then he went on that same strategy with Allmendinger, and I think that really helped him. So I think if you had maybe more of like a mediocre car, that was a really good strategy. But if you had a really good car like Larson, Bell, and Byron, I think just pitting before the end of the stage made the most sense.
Yeah, it was to me. I feel like a lot of people didn't really even want to take huge strategy swings here. This kind of honestly felt like the championship races of previous years, where half the field just doesn't care to be there. They're just out there, running laps.
Yeah,
it just had a really weird feel, and I think we're gonna get back to like. I'm excited for Las Vegas this week. I'm excited for Homestead. I'm not really excited for Martinsville, but it's the race for the championship, so you have to be. But I think we're going to get these next 2 races. Going to get some really good racing.
Both Martinsville playoff races have been really good. Honestly,
yeah, that's true.
It's just been
definitely a lot better than
it's been the spring races that have been terrible, but the playoff races have been really good. Obviously we had the Hail Melon or whatever a couple years ago, but at the same time, was it last year, 2 years ago? I don't even remember. But and then the other Martinsville playoff race was really good as well. A lot of passing. So we'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic for Martinsville. I don't think it's going to be the old Martinsville bangers of the past, but I'm cautiously optimistic for it. But I think Vegas and Homestead are going to be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to it. Anything else from the Charlotte Roval you got?
Let's see. Maybe
Carson Hocevar being a menace.
Yeah, I didn't catch that part. Obviously, it was on during NFL. I must have missed something there. But I was going to say Chris Buescher just had his first road course, I think, in the next gen era.
Yeah, he also got spun out by Hocevar.
He was also just kind of meh in general all weekend.
Yeah. Same with Alex Bowman. Kind of mad, but like I said, that was his strategy, I think. Hocevar was just kind of, he was being Hocevar. I don't think it was excessive enough that I'm irritated about it. I feel like he had to race like that. He had a good car, finished 12th. I think he had a top 10 car. And he was the only one actually trying to pass people. So I'm never going to knock that, but yeah, Buescher, first time in a very long time that car has just not been very good.
Yeah, and I had a top 10 on Hocevar, and he fell from 9th to 12th in the last handful of laps. Had Bubba Wallace top Toyota. He finished second Toyota. It's been one of those years. It's been actually unbelievable how close I keep coming without, hitting a big one. So
maybe this week will be. I know you're on a couple. I saw you're on an outright already.
I just unloaded a ton of bets right before we jumped on here. I can't even track them because they're untrackable bets, but I could custom track them. I just don't have the time to do it, obviously, because just saw them right before we went live. But yeah, I've got a shit ton of bets in for Vegas already.
I'm curious what those are now. I know once again, so Vegas very close, obviously, to Kansas. So a couple weeks ago we were just at Kansas, and this exact same thing happened. 365 opened Ty Gibbs plus 130 for a top 10. Same exact scenario as Kansas. I bet it immediately. Fastest car on this track type this year. Obviously great there. I saw you bet Ty Gibbs top 5 as well. And then I think Christopher Bell outright, I believe. I saw you bet.
And Ty Gibbs outright.
No, 25-1 Ty Gibbs. Yeah. And like I said, the first race here at Vegas earlier this year, Kyle Larson, dominating effort. Tyler Reddick was very good in that race, as was Ross Chastain, who just won at Kansas. So, interesting race coming up. But let's go to the playoff standings. Okay. like I said, Alex Bowman's out. Joey Logano's in. Larson has a 33-point advantage over the bubble right now for the top 4. Christopher Bell's plus 13, Tyler Reddick's plus 10, William Byron's plus 4. Ryan Blaney is 4 below, Hamlin 8 below, Chase Elliott 9 below, and Logano 11 below. All these guys super close. This is going to be a very fun. This is going to be a very fun round. I'm curious to see if so we haven't really seen too many playoff drivers. We've only seen 3 playoff drivers win the first 6 races. Do you think we go 3 for 3 with playoff drivers winning these next 3 races of round of 8?
Depends on what you count a playoff driver as. Do you just mean the 8 or the 16 original?
I just see 8.
No, we're not sweeping. We're not sweeping.
You don't think so?
No, I doubt it.
Interesting. I mean, I'm going to root for that, but I think we do. I think we get a sweep.
No, I don't think so.
Obviously, going back to our 4 out that we picked last round. So you had Suarez, Logano, Hamlin, and Briscoe. Would have been 3 for 4 if Logano stayed out. So 2 for 4 there. I had Suarez, Cindric, Logano, Blaney, so I also would have been 3 for 4, but I'm also 2 for 4. So interesting there, but yeah, this obviously points are really close. One mess up by Larson here at Vegas, and he's going to be right in the thick of things as well. But overall, very strong field. Who's your final 4? Let's just kick it off right here.
Larson. He's got such a huge lead. Like, yeah, if he DNFs, he's right back in it, but he can still afford a DNF. Everybody else pretty much can't, right? So Larson, Bell, Reddick, Byron. I'm just going 1 through 4.
1 through 4?
I think those have been the 4 best this year, other than maybe Denny Hamlin.
Yep, that was going to be my yeah. For some reason though, I think somehow a Penske driver like sneaks in just because they always seem to do it.
Here's something, and well, before we get to yours, but let's go back to this Bowman thing, right? Because Bowman DQ'd, allowed Logano in, but Bowman getting DQ'd also allowed Tyler Reddick's team to get in the Owners' Championship because they actually were behind Logano in the team standings. I can't remember the exact reason. There was something, maybe about some penalty or something. But that allowed Tyler Reddick to get in his number 45 team to get in on the team owner points. Otherwise, they would have been out. I think it was because 5 playoff points got rescinded from the team for a penalty or something, So 2311 suing NASCAR. So you can't say NASCAR is biased against 2311, right? Because they just helped 2311 there.
That's a good point. Huh.
And I can't say they helped them, right? I mean, they're just doing the fair thing, but like by doing the fair thing, they helped 2311. And so,
right.
You definitely can't say NASCAR is being biased against 2311. I know there was a non-penalty call situation with Bubba Wallace got the penalty. Well, why didn't William Byron or whoever it was get the penalty? It's Hendrick favoritism. Well, if it's Hendrick favoritism, Alex Bowman just got disqualified.
Yeah.
So I don't buy any favoritism. The penalty kind of was a judgment call. I can see how, based off the explanation that was given, it made sense. Like, you have to have all 4 of your tires in the blue at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though Byron got all 4 of his tires in the blue, they weren't all at the same time, right? When the front tires were in the blue, the back tires were still good. And when the back tires were in the blue, the front tires were good. So I think that was I should say the back left and the back right and the front left and the front right. But yeah, you get the point. There was always at least one tire for Byron. I think it was Byron who it was, touching the red and white part.
Mm-hmm. I think part of that was maybe the rule, or definitely the explanation of the rule, just was unclear.
Very unclear.
You know, and
the drivers weren't clear about it going into the race.
Yeah, which is just amazing to me because it was a last second rule, or like it was added in, and yeah, it was Gilliland and Hamlin that basically had two different interpretations of the same rule on race day. They were tweeting about it on race day, which is just like embarrassing as fuck. Why can't this sport go 1 week without something coming up and not being embarrassing as hell? Like it's starting to piss me off, you know? Like, just have a set of rules, or stop fucking with the track, or just let's have 1 week where there's no controversy and shit. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just getting ridiculous with all these ridiculous things. I know I just said ridiculous like twice in the same sentence, but that's how it is. That's how it feels. Why can't we go a week without? I mean, they're the freaking NASCAR drivers. They're the guys actually racing the race, in control of the car, and so they are responsible for getting that penalty or not. It's not one of those crew chiefs or pit crew type things. They're responsible for that specific thing, and they don't even know the rule. Unacceptable. And that's not on the drivers. That's on NASCAR not making it clear for the drivers.
Right. Yeah. And especially, you know, like I said, like the last minute changes that they keep doing, all that shit, like it's just ridiculous. And it's gonna, I hope something like that never determines a champion, you know?
I agree.
Hopefully, yeah, that would just be a major black eye on this sport. But quickly looking at the points, Austin Cindric's 10th in points.
I was gonna say, definitely let's look outside the playoffs as well.
I thought the points reset kind of.
Yeah, like, if you fall out, everybody in the playoffs goes to 2,000, and then if you make the next round, you go to 3,000. Then if you make the next round, you go to 4,000. But anytime you fall out, you go back to the 2,000 plus the points you earned in the playoffs.
Oh wow!
Right, so that's why I said anybody from Harrison Burton to whoever gets eliminated that doesn't make the Final Four can still finish 5th in the championship.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's just whatever playoff points you've earned plus the normal points you've earned in the playoffs is your total points plus 2,000 when and if you get eliminated.
Mm-hmm. That just shows how good of a postseason that Austin Cindric's had.
I mean, a 4th place finish at the Roval and 3 other top 13 finishes. He had 2 DNFs, but you know, one of those was Talladega.
Mm-hmm. All right. My Final Four. I think Larson and Bell are in. So I'm going to go Larson, Bell. I'm going to go Byron as well. And man, this is going to be controversial, but I think the 45 team continues to struggle, and I think.
But why? Why do you think they continue to struggle?
Because they haven't looked good. They've lost speed since the regular season, and I don't know why. Like, I feel like this is not the same team that was in the regular season.
But they weren't
speed-wise.
How have they lost speed? Right? Like at the Glen, all the Toyotas sucked because of the tire deal. Bristol, whatever. Kansas, Reddick wasn't good at first Kansas either. Talladega's Talladega. And the Roval, he was pretty good.
Yeah, but like even at Darlington, he wasn't that great. I guess he won at Michigan. That's close enough. I don't know. I'm sticking with it. Like I said, it's not a smart pick because Reddick's really good at Vegas. He's really good at Homestead. But I think a Penske driver gets in. And I'm going to go with defending champion Ryan Blaney.
Blaney
Those are
sucks
my
at
final.
Homestead. That's the big worry there.
Finished second last year.
Yeah, but that's one good finish.
You know my theory with this car.
Well, he finished 17th in 2022 and wasn't very fast. So that wouldn't have carried from 2022 to 2023?
Yeah. Probably. Like I said, I just think I feel like Penske turns things up in these playoffs, and I think they're going to do it again. This is just a hunch. This is not a smart, analytical driven prediction. This is just how I feel like it's going to end up. I think we're going to get 3 B drivers: Bell, Byron, and Blaney, and Kyle Larson.
It's hard passing on Chase Elliott, man. He's been the most consistent driver this year.
I know. And that's another one I was thinking of.
He's really good at Martinsville. Good at Homestead. Good at Vegas. Not amazing, but good at Vegas.
Yeah, I think you could make a case for pretty much all hell, we're barely talking about Denny Hamlin right now, and he's had one of the most impressive regular seasons. I think there is a decent gap as far as speed back to like Joey Logano, though. You know, I'd definitely put Logano and Blaney a little bit further back than these guys, and I'd probably put the top 6, and then a little gap to Blaney, and then a probably medium gap to Logano is where I'd put it speed wise.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see here. Christopher Bell continues to lead the way in top 10s this season with 20 through the first 32 races. We're down to 4 races left in this season. This thing is just clicking off fast as shit. Martin Truex Jr. had another bad race at the Glen. How much do you think he's just done? Like, does not give a flying fuck about racing anymore.
Kind of what it appears. He has 2 top 10 finishes since New Hampshire. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 races. He's 2 top 10 finishes and only 3 inside the top 19.
Wild. Yeah, I think he's pretty much fed up with. He's doing it because he has to, but he has no joy. He has no joy in these race weekends anymore.
Yep.
All right, on to Vegas. We are talking. Let's see. Let me pull up the last Vegas race. Kyle Larson, like I said.
Hold on. We got some more point standing stuff to talk.
What?
That race for 17th. Look at that.
I always forget to look at that.
9 points apart.
9
for 3
points,
drivers,
yeah.
and Bubba actually leapfrogged Ross Chastain.
Mm-hmm. Ross fell 2 spots, so Buescher's now 17th, despite not having a great race at the Roval. Bubba's 18th, and Ross is 19th. 8:30, 8:24, 8:21, and then there's a massive gap to Kyle Busch at 7:11.
Delicious 7-Eleven Slurpees. Yeah, no, and then look who's in 21st. Rookie Carson Hocevar was spotted.
Carson Hocevar,
and that I believe includes a penalty, right?
Hocevar has been.
He got a 25-point penalty or something for being a fuckface.
I don't remember if he did or not.
I'm pretty sure he did for intentionally wrecking.
Hocevar is a top 20 machine. And for Spire, that's really good. 21 top 20s this year, 12 top 15s in 32 races. He's just one of those drivers that's always like, he qualifies like 20th every week. And then, he's going to be a team's driver and maybe crack the top 10 here and there. Solid. Spire overall this last time at Vegas was solid. Hocevar finished 15th. He started 14th. Could definitely see him, challenge for a top 10 again this weekend. finished 10th at Michigan, which is, you know, led some laps at Kansas a couple weeks ago. Yeah, Hocevar's having. I'm excited to see what Hocevar does next year. You know, when Spire is kind of fully, I feel like they're gonna just get a little bit more speed next year. So it'll be fun to see how he does there. Then obviously we got McDowell moving over there as well. So McDowell's in. Can you believe? I can't believe this one. Todd Gilliland is ahead of McDowell in points.
Yeah,
by 5.
it's pretty crazy. Todd Gilliland, the Front Row Motorsports leader now, and obviously McDowell's leaving, but full season, Gilliland barely ahead of McDowell, 22nd in points. You know, Noah Gragson, 25th, probably has to be pretty disappointed given how hot he started. I think after Darlington, he was probably in the top 16, right on that bubble as far as playoff standings. Let me pull up. Racing Reference always has the point standings after each race. Let me pull up. Yeah, Gregson after Darlington was 19th in the point standings. He's sitting 25th now.
I can't think of the last time that you know, typically like those drivers back there, you have a race or two where you're like, oh, you know, where did he come from? You know, he looks decent this week. I can't remember the last time I've thought about Noah Gragson.
Michigan for sure. Indy finished 9th, so you know, I mean, he has an 11th at the Glen, 12th at Bristol. He has some good finishes lately. They just are, you know, sandwiched in between a 37th, a 37th, a 32nd, a 34th, a 31st. You know, it's like the second half of the year has been very hit or miss for Noah Gragson.
Yeah, because you look at, you know, the first 12 races this year, he had 5 top 10s, first 12 races, and then a 12th in there as well.
Yeah.
And even a 14th there before. Yeah, 2 12ths and a 14th before the All-Star break. And after that, they just fell off.
Yeah, only 5 finishes of 12th or better and only 2 top 10s.
But I do think he's someone to keep an eye on this weekend because you remember how fast that car was here at Vegas the first race.
I was going to say, I was at that first Vegas race. I remember everything about that race pretty much. So I'm extra excited for this one.
Mm-hmm. That was the weekend, you know, he qualified 30th, but he ended up 6th. He had one of the faster cars leading that race for sure. You know, a late restart, he could have said something.
Yep, absolutely. I think I don't really see anything else in the point standings. You know, Zane Smith, remember, he was hanging out in dead last for a while. He's 29th now in points.
Mm-hmm.
It's John Hunter Nemechek who's dead last now, and our boy Daniel Hemrick second to last.
Yeah, Zane Smith, another top 20 finish at the Roval, has not finished worse than 21st since Darlington. And that was a 23rd. He hasn't finished worse than 23rd since Pocono.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, a couple weeks before the Olympics break. He's definitely, like, compare first half to second half, Zane Smith is a completely different driver.
Yep.
And I don't think, I saw a tweet, but I think it was fake, that he signed for next year. I don't think he's going anywhere. If I remember right. Pulling this up.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything.
Let's see. Zane Smith.
I think a lot could depend on these lawsuits and stuff, right?
Right.
There's still like a couple outstanding charters and lawsuits, and who knows. So it's going to be an interesting offseason.
Yeah, Jayski has Zane Smith expected to go to Front Row next year, but it hasn't been announced. But yeah, it'll definitely that'll be obviously something to watch. I haven't even kept up with what's going on. I think there was like a delay or something with that case, or something happened. I don't know.
Yeah.
I forget, like, I'm sure one of these days the news will just break that, like, some decision was made, and then we'll all catch up.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it last week, but then I think it actually happened after our podcast, but 2311 did file the temporary injunction to be able to run under the charter system next year. And front row, and NASCAR filed their counter to that, saying no, they shouldn't be allowed to. So that's the only court proceeding that's kind of happened, which I was alluding to would probably happen, and then it did. So
yeah, we need to get Greg on the show and talk about all this legal shit.
Yeah, we really do.
But yeah. So yeah, on to Vegas. Like I said, Kyle Larson last time led 101 of the 267 laps, swept both stages, had a driving rating of 148.1. Tyler Reddick finished second, Ryan Blaney third, Chastain and Gibbs top 5. Gregson, Truex, Hamlin, Logano, Byron top 10. Like I said, Kyle Larson, heavy favorite. I saw him, I believe, at like plus 275, which is
just like SVG plus 270.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah, right now at BetMGM he's plus 275. FanDuel's the longest. You can get him at plus 370. I'm not betting that. One, because like I think even if he goes out there and does Larson stuff in practice and qualifying, they're not going to make him that much shorter. So I'm not jumping to bet that, but I think that that says a lot that Circa has him at plus 270.
So Jim, of course, my buddy, has him at like 3-1 as fair value, which I thought was crazy. And not because Jim's crazy or I disagree with his model or anything. That blew my mind is what I mean by I thought that was crazy. So my model has plus 535. I think Greg, when he tracked Larson no, said plus 575 or minus 575 for fair value no, which would be plus 575 for fair on yes. So even if you average Jim Mining and the win the race one, that's still like plus 440 or something. So I was very shocked by the plus 270 that Circa hung. I just can't see it, right? Like there's so many things that could go wrong. And I'm not even talking during race day. I'm talking, this is midweek before practice and qualifying. What if Hendrick thinks they had found something and it turns out they didn't? What if 2311 and JGR did find something and they're even better? Remember, Reddick was catching Larson in the first race for the win. If there was two more laps, Reddick wins that race, right? And that's just on speed. So there's no way I can make Larson plus 270 or plus 300 or whatever just knowing the first race. And then you can add all the different things that could potentially, shift it worse. Like I said, maybe 2311 front JGR makes gains. Maybe Ford makes gains. Who knows? Maybe Chevy takes a step back or whatever. And then what if the world's largest trash bag that ended up on William Byron ends up on Kyle Larson? Now we're talking in-race stuff, right? Like all the things that could go wrong in a race. Vegas, windy place often. World's largest trash bag. Very often debris ends up on the leader at Vegas because of wind, very windy area. And then just blown tire, somebody wrecks in front of you, pit penalty, bad pit stop, all sorts of things that can go wrong. I can't get to a 25% chance of a driver winning a 1.5 mile race, even with this year being tamer than the past couple years at 1.5 miles. They've still been very competitive, these 1.5 miles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I understand why he's so short. I mean, Larson is fucking so good at this racetrack. Last car, this car, like the last 2 races here, he's won both races. He's won all 4 stages. Like he's obviously been the best at this track. But like you said, there's no way I'm betting him this short. There's way too many variables that could happen. Like all it takes literally is his pit crew. One minor mistake on the final pit stop, and if Reddick or Bell or Byron are up there and have the lead, there's no guarantee that Larson's going to have a good enough car to pass them. So, I'm with you. I think as usual though, a heavy favorite like this creates value the rest of the board. For sure. Like, I know you're on Bell 11-1. I believe so, right?
Yeah, 11-1.
Yeah. I grabbed that as well when it dropped. And then obviously you like Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs has been so good on the intermediate tracks this year.
The first race here this year is a top 5 car the whole race.
Yep. And
pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, almost exactly the whole race. I think he even had a penalty or something. Fell back and worked his way back into the top 5.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't remember exactly what happened, but stage 2, he didn't finish top 10, so I think something happened in there.
Yeah, he was really good.
And even someone like Ross Chastain's good at this race. Like, there's a lot of guys, especially non-playoff drivers, like you said, like there's no guarantee that a current playoff driver is going to win this race.
Bubba's really good here.
Yep.
I mean,
and
Bubba and Larson were battling. Remember when Bubba at Vegas, when Bubba right hooked Larson?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all it takes is that for Larson not to win this race. Or, I forget what happened
or just his Hendrick teammates are just as good as him,
Right.
Like
what happened to Larson at Kansas a couple weeks ago? Didn't he hit the wall or something?
He blew a tire.
Blew a tire.
Yeah, blew a tire in stage 1.
Yeah.
And I was on him to win 5-1, I think, at that race.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe
so looking
maybe
back
5.5 or whatever it was. But yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that was post-practice qualifying I took him when I saw all his speed.
Yeah, he had a great car, started 11th. Yeah. But Ross Chastain stole that one. Byron Truex, Blaney Gibbs, a lot of these same guys, like you've said, Kansas and Las Vegas are very similar racetracks. I think we're going to see a lot of these same guys be fast as well. Christopher Bell, that was the race. He started on pole, dominated, and then just got in his own head or fucked up a little bit, hit the wall, did it twice, ended up finishing 7th. That was also a race that I believe Chase Elliott blew an engine in practice or was down a cylinder in qualifying. Started dead last. He ended up finishing 9th. So I'm kind of looking at and trying to remember what exactly happened at Kansas a few weeks ago that we can take to apply here for Vegas this weekend. Kyle Busch was pretty strong in that race. He led 26 laps. He was probably going to win that race. Do we think Kyle and he had a great car here at Vegas in the first race? Do we think Kyle Busch can win this race?
He can. I don't have value on him at his betting odds, but he definitely can win this race. Kyle Busch is one of the. I told you I made a bunch of bets. I made a bet on Kyle Busch, but I won't reveal what that bet was yet until we get there.
Okay. Well, now I'm curious. Now you have to.
No, I don't. wait till we start talking bets.
Okay. But yeah, so Larson's a heavy favorite. Then we got Byron at plus 850. Bell's down to 10-1. Hamlin, who has won this race before, is down to 10-1. Reddick, I don't mind Reddick at plus 950 this week.
Reddick plus 950. I don't mind that. My model doesn't have value because of Kansas, where he wasn't very good at Kansas. I'm not talking the second. I'm talking both, right?
Yeah.
And it being the most similar track to Vegas, it's really dinging him. But for whatever reason, 2311 just missed it at Kansas this year. But they're really good at the first Vegas. So
yep,
I do like Reddick. My model doesn't have value on him at plus 950, but I think I like him at plus 950. It's one of those numbers versus, kind of brain things where you can't really separate the two in a model, but I think my brain can separate the two.
Right. And 2311's lack of speed at Kansas this year made no sense at all. Like you said.
Came out of nowhere because they were so good at Kansas all the time.
All the time. And Reddick was, arguably the best car at the end of the first Vegas race. So,
yep.
Yeah, that was just, that's weird. So that was that was definitely one that stood out to me when I was looking at these odds. I was like, Reddick at 950, I can get behind. Obviously, I like Bell at 11-1. Go a little bit further down, we got the Penske boys sitting there at 14 and 16-1. Blaney and Logano. Then Chase Elliott sitting at 16-1. That's a little bit longer than I expected, but at the same time, Chase Elliott, it's not like he's going out there dominating races.
Yeah, Elliott's the other one I have outright value on in my model. Haven't bet it yet, but I technically have value on him at 16 in my model. I technically have value on him at 14 in my model, but it's super thin there, not to a bettable point. But at 16, I can get there based off the model, but I don't know if I want to bet him. So just again, another one where maybe I take some of that Elliott win probability away and apply it to Reddick, and it feels more right, And then it's pretty much just in line with the market. So I don't know if I can get there on Elliott.
And then going, a little bit further down, Ty Gibbs sitting at 24-1. I know you like that.
Such a smash spot.
Huh?
That's a smash. Like Ty Gibbs at 24 is a smash.
It's all he needs to do is put together a whole race. Like they've been so fast on this track type. And that's why, like, my favorite bet this week is Ty Gibbs top 10.
Yeah, I would bet him top 10, but I've already bet him top 5 and to win, so I'm not going to take his top 10. I'll just risk the loss. But the top 10 is definitely value at anything plus money. I think I'm 55% for a top 10. I probably should take his top 10 at plus 120 or whatever it is, but at that point, I already took his win. I already took his top 5, which I have to size even larger. So I'd have to size his top 10 like 3 units, So I think I'm just going to go for the longer odd bets there.
How are we feeling about some of these other guys like Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher in that range? Even Alex Bowman. Bowman's sitting at 35.
Where is he 35?
Bet Rivers.
I never look at Bet Rivers because I don't think anybody can get any money down there. Let's see, 35. I would have him exactly fair at 35-1. But yeah, I don't have value on Kez or Bowman or Buescher in that mid range there. I just don't have value on those guys or Bubba.
Any super long shots you like?
No, I've got literally no value on anybody except Bell, Gibbs, and Elliott.
Nice. Yeah, there was Greg Mathern with his tweet about BetMGM's opening odds for this race and their theoretical hold.
That's so stupid. I can't believe that. I thank goodness for FanDuel coming in with like 18% hold or whatever it was.
FanDuel's been solid here as of late with all that.
Yeah, shout outs to FanDuel for some decent bettability. 18% is like if you're betting golf outrights and stuff at Circa, they try to get, like for the Masters, they try to get their theoretical hold early in the week. They might open at 20 or whatever something percent, but by the end of the week, when it's been bet into really heavily, they want to get their golf tournament outrights down to 15% theoretical hold. So NASCAR has fewer cars than golfers, right? In a major golf tournament. So you got to think by the end of the week, got to get that theoretical hold down at least below 20% for NASCAR, because I know it's not as heavily bet into, but nobody does it except FanDuel and Circa. FanDuel just started there, so shout outs to them.
I'm looking at top 10 odds now. Noah Gregson's sitting at plus 425.
Not there.
Nope.
Not
even
there.
After his first run. What about Carson Hocevar sitting at plus 500?
I don't have any top 10 value on anyone except Ty Gibbs. And maybe Chase Elliott. I don't know. I just need to look around here. I have top 10 value on Gilly Gang at 14-1. technically I have top 10 value there. I have him 8.7% versus 6.7% implied at 14-1. But I'm pretty sure I don't have top 10 value on anybody else. Like, even if I look at Christopher Bell, I have him 67%. Best I see is minus 225. I'm going to look at Chase Elliott. I have him a shade over 60%. I mean, I guess minus 139 at Bet Rivers if you have Bet Rivers, but otherwise you need, I mean, minus like 152 is my fair market value on Elliott or so. So minus 160 at BetMGM, you can't even bet. So yeah, I don't have any top 10 value except Ty Gibbs and Todd Gilliland.
I'm interested. What's your fair market value top 10 on Truex?
55%. So plus money.
Okay.
Or sorry, not plus money. Slightly minus money. It's minus 122.
Yeah, he's sitting at minus 125. Yeah, Ty Gibbs top 10 is definitely my bet of the week.
Yeah, exactly. And I love it. I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, go bet Ty Gibbs top 10. I just haven't yet, only because I've bet his top 5 and it's outright. And I'd have to keep sizing up. And I've already, spent enough on Ty Gibbs that I'm just going to roll with the higher odds and, less likely to win, but more likely to profit bigger. Because typically with the way holds go, the least hold is on the outright, and then the next least on top 3, and then the next least on top 5. So you get bigger edges by betting the longer shot ones, like the outright, the top 3, the top 5, than you do the top 10. But it doesn't mean there isn't value. It's just the most value tends to come from the less likely ones to hit, which is the outright, the top 3, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like my expected ROI on Ty Gibbs when he's 24-1 is like 37% expected ROI if we ran this race a bazillion times over. If I do his top 10, let me grab that. His top 10 is 55.333. So 1 minus 0.553 equals no, I just need plus 120. So 1 divided by 2.2 equals, and then let's take that divided by that. Yeah, I have about 21.7% theoretical ROI versus 30 on his top 10 versus 37% theoretical ROI on his outright.
Ty Gibbs is just one of those drivers that like obviously I love this top 10 bet. It's my favorite bet of the week. But he's also one of those drivers that I hate betting on because like the number of times he shoots himself in the foot. It's early Byron. Like Byron did it all the time, especially on intermediate tracks early in his career where, he's always super fast, but then something happened and he fucked it up. But the races that nothing happened, he's a top 5 could win contender. Mm-hmm. So,
yep, I agree with you.
Yeah, you gotta bet the upside there. I think I'm gonna be with you and grab his 24-1 there at FanDuel as well. Okay, what's your other bet?
What do you mean? My other bet?
The one that you wouldn't tell me earlier.
Oh, I got a bunch. Caesars has over-under finishing position, so I bet 5 of them.
Did you really?
Yeah, I bet 5 of them. I took Kyle Larson over 3.5.
Oh, I like that.
I took Rowdy, which is off the board now because I broke it. So that's my fault. Took Rowdy over 7.5 minus 120. I took Todd Gilliland under 25.5. It was minus 115. It's minus 130 now. Still like that. I have that closer to something like 60 something percent. 60. Let me pull up what I have on him. I know Jim was on that too. Todd Gilliland. What did I say? 25.5? 25.5. I have him 63.5%. Sorry, one extra position. 66.9%. Nice. Under 25.5. So 67%. So like minus 200 fair. And Jim's right at the same number, basically 67.6%. So still like Gilly, under 25.5, minus 130. I took McD, under 22.5, minus 115. What do I have McD? I have McD a little bit better than Gilly in this one. Don't know if I love it. So if you want to avoid one, that's probably one I'd avoid. But I took it because my model said so. And I took Harrison Burton over 24.5.
I was just about to. That one was. I literally have it up right now. Harrison Burton over 24.5.
And I have that over 24.5 for Harrison Burton at 69%, something like that. Yeah, 69.3%. And Jim has it 65.4% to the over. So if you had 3 to bet, I would bet Burton, Gilly, and Rowdy's off the board. I bet those 3. I personally like Larson. Jim doesn't because his model's very high on Larson. But I like Larson over 3.5 just because everything, all the crazy things that can happen here. So yeah. Gilly under 25.5, Burton over 24.5. I took Bush over 7.5, but I contributed to breaking that. It actually was 6.5 minus 140. I went to bet it. It moved to 7.5 minus 120. And I don't know who did that because I know it wasn't Jim either. But right when I was going to bet it, I guess somebody else saw it. And then I bet it. And then it came off the board. So must have hit totally by accident, simultaneous line movement. And Caesars was like, nope, taking it off. So yeah. But Rowdy over 7.5 was my biggest. The others I did to win 2 units. All the other 4 I did to win 2 units. Rowdy I did to win 3 units. So it was over 7.5 minus 120. So bet 360 to win 300. Basically, if you're a $100 unit better. I'm not. I'm a little more than that. But yeah. So that was what I did there on those. So yeah, I unloaded on some finishing position bets. Oh, and I bet 2 other matchups as well.
What matchups did you bet?
I took Chase Elliott minus 105 over Joey Logano at DraftKings. And I
like that.
Tyler Reddick minus 120 over Ryan Blaney at BetMGM.
Yeah, I like that as well. Drivers on lead lap at finish, 24.5. Ended with 31 last race. Kansas was 32.
Yeah, you probably got to go over on that for sure.
That's what I'm thinking. Last year's fall race at Vegas.
And first 26. Kansas race was 31. What did Charlotte? I know it was shortened, but it was still, 450 miles. Well, not quite. It was 249 laps, not 300 laps. 249 times 1 point. It was 373 and a half laps, almost 400. Charlotte had 35 on the lead lap. Michigan had, I know it's a 2-mile track, so it's not quite the same. Michigan had 24.
Michigan also had that pile up.
That's true. Texas was weird because a bunch of people got trapped a lap down on pit cycles. Still had 31 on the lead lap at the end of that. Yeah, I think over is an absolute smash.
Yeah, I'm not seeing why it's set. Like, I'm really surprised. I was expecting 28 and a half. So this is quite the. I'm going to bet that right now.
Yeah, I'm going to bet that too.
Password reset required.
Oh, my thing just did a weird refresh. Huh. All right. Yeah, it's still there. Yeah. Over 24 and a half minus 120. I am in.
I'm trying to be.
Yeah, I'm just doing it on desktop here because I can. But it just like glitched out on me and then came back and I was able to grab it. I'm old, man. I'm 40. I'm pushing 41. I'll be 41 in 2 weeks, and that's why I do things on desktop instead of a phone app.
All right, I'm in too. It's always a good week when we have live bets on the show.
Yeah, it really is.
All right. Back to my browsing here. Well, we just moved it to minus 130. Good job.
Let's go. Yep, we sure did. That's the simultaneous bet right there, moving it. I haven't even looked at these Caesars groups. Wow, look at this group. Harrison Burton, Corey LaJoie, John Hunter Nemechek, and SVG.
Which group is that?
Group G. They're all plus 250. All of them.
I don't like that.
I kind of love it.
I mean, I like the group, but I don't like the odds.
Yeah, but but if one of these guys should be heavily favored, then plus 250 is a huge deal. I'm looking. I have Corey LaJoie ahead of Nemechek and Burton by a bit of a gap. Now, I even have LaJoie being in a Rick Ware car. Remember, LaJoie just finished 14th at Kansas in the Rick Ware car?
15th.
15th? Yeah.
The wild card there is SVG,
I think I like LaJoie at plus 250. I don't know if I'm going to bet it, but I think I like it. If we look, Burton finished 23rd in that race. JHN finished 30th. Yeah, I kind of like it. Kind of like LaJoie at plus 250. I'm not betting it, but I kind of like it.
Yeah, that 16's been pretty garbage this year, hasn't it? Ty Dillon was in it at Kansas, finished 21st.
Plus, it's just SVG, right?
Yeah, SVG, Charlotte finished 28th. Derek Kraus was in the first Vegas race. Finished 28th.
When is Shane Van Gisbergen been good at a 1.5 mile track, even in Xfinity? Let me look. 18th at Texas in Xfinity, DNF'd Las Vegas 1. Finished 8th at Kansas, which is, huge for him, but not a great result if you translate an 8th place finish to cup level. 8th place Xfinity finish to cup level. 15th at Charlotte, 18th at Texas. Yeah, I'm not seeing it for SVG, so I think I really like LaJoie in that group.
I think he definitely should be the favorite.
I think he should be like 2-1 instead of plus 250.
Like Nemechek and Burton are two of those guys that could, luck into a lead lap finish and then, something weird happens on a final restart, and that's how you lose it.
Yeah.
But like, if you're just looking at speed, then LaJoie's the guy there. Speaking of Legacy and Toyota, did you see the allegations that are going around, or I guess it's confirmed?
Yeah.
I think, what is it? Joe Gibbs Racing Engineer selling secrets to other teams?
Sold secrets to another team. A non-playoff team, I believe it was.
It has to be Legacy, right?
I've heard it was RCR. Which is how all of a sudden RCR found speed or whatever. But I think the two leading theories are either Legacy or RCR, especially with the Kyle Busch connection to JGR from the past.
I think RCR makes sense because of the speed for sure, but Legacy makes sense because it's also Toyota. But
right,
there could be I don't know if the secrets are so much manufacturer specific,
Yeah, that's the thing. Is it manufacturer specific or not? And if it was Legacy getting secrets, why aren't they any good still?
Yeah, they're still It has to be RCR, right?
I think so, but I don't know.
But yeah, that'll be interesting. Everything I've seen is, NASCAR won't do anything until there's an official complaint.
Yeah. Which is weird, but okay.
Yeah, it's another one of those just weird ass situations with NASCAR.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. Any other bets you see out there that you like?
No, I went through all those groups, didn't find anything else. I went through top whatever manufacturer, but it's all the same. Like, I'm going to like Ty Gibbs. I'm going to like,
right.
Same guys I like. If I look at Chevy or Ford, there's not really anybody that's standing out. Maybe Gilly top Ford in a long shot universe or something, 80-1.
Here's an interesting one for you.
Is what I see at Caesars. I don't know if there's a better price elsewhere, but yeah.
This is going to go with what you just said, that, you like Gibbs, but Group 3 on Fanatics: Truex, Kyle Busch, Chastain, Gibbs. Gibbs is the long shot, plus 340.
Truex, Kyle Busch, Chastain, Gibbs. Yeah, I like that. Definitely like Gibbs there. Let me see where Gilly is. 66 at Bet365, 80 at Caesars. What is he at DraftKings? I saw DraftKings had manufacturer up. NASCAR, race props. 60. Yeah, 80-1 at Caesars. Todd Gilliland, top Ford. I don't hate, but I don't really think I'm betting it. Gregson's 18, top Ford. Don't hate that, but again, not really betting it.
Ooh. Group E on Bet365: Eric Jones, Josh Berry, Austin Dillon, Carson Hocevar.
Groups, about 365. Hold on. Eric Jones, Carson Hocevar, Josh Berry, Austin Dillon, Hocevar.
I'm thinking Hocevar.
That would be my gut reaction. Yeah, Hocevar is definitely what I'm showing as the best in that group, followed by Josh Berry, actually.
Really?
Yep.
I was thinking it would be Austin there second.
No, I have Dillon and Jones slightly behind Josh Berry. But I mean, they're all neck and neck. But Hocevar definitely a clear favorite there. So yeah, I think plus 275 is good in Carson Hocevar in Group E. Yeah, not seeing a whole lot else bet wise, but I've already put in a bunch of bets.
I was gonna say you're pretty.
I do think I'm regretting I do think I'm regretting the McDowell under 22.5 a bit. I think that's probably the only one I don't feel great about. But my model said it, I went with it, so it is what it is. But diving in, I don't think I like it as much. So probably if you're listening, don't bet that.
Yeah, his intermediate performances this year haven't been great.
His first Vegas is misleading. It was misleading because he did that 0 tire stop or didn't stop at all, and then just fell straight to the back and never recovered.
Did finish 10th in Kansas 1, finished 16th at Charlotte.
Yeah. Right? So, like, there's some upside here.
That's one of those teams, though, like, they're definitely not consistent on speed.
No. Not at all.
You know, they'll come out and, you know, they'll run 16th at an intermediate, and then the next one, you know, they're 33rd. It's weird.
It really is.
But, yeah. Yeah, I'm not seeing any other bets here. Obviously, we're recording this on Tuesday night. Yeah, I think, honestly, I might just, like, and I hate to do this, but I might just, like, go all in, Ty Gibbs top 10, and that's going to be my bets for the week. And I'm just going to I'm going to enjoy the race, and because I just feel so good about it. I
don't hate that strategy. Just remember, though, my model only has it 55.3% to win. But you're getting plus 120 or whatever. It's still good value. Just remember, it's kind of like a coin flip.
Yeah. You know me, I like to gamble.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I have a 55.3 on something that is I'm being offered 45% on, I'm going to push that edge all day. It's just, you're still going to lose almost half the time.
Yep. Yeah. Should be a good race, though. I'm excited. I'm going to be there. Going to the track. I've never been to Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
I may or may not go into the Xfinity race. We'll see. I'm still trying to hear back from a friend of ours.
Yeah. Any tips from you for the track?
Get there early.
Yep. Plan on doing that.
Nothing else really. Credentials, I think I already told you this, is around, like, on the outside, like around towards turn 1.
Yeah, I gotta figure out how I'm getting there.
And then, I mean, it's just straight up the highway. It's just you head out Vegas up northeast-ish on Highway 15.
How long does it take to get there from the strip, from the south end of the strip, or the wherever?
Half hour, maybe. But you know, I left really early for the first one, and it was just smooth sailing almost all the way up into the track, maybe like half a mile until the track. So if you get there early, you're totally fine. Let me do like MGM Casino and the directions. I haven't really gone from the strip ever, so that's why I don't know. Las Vegas Motor Speedway. and not walking. I was like, why does it say 5 hours? It says like 25 minutes.
Okay.
But
All
leave early, and you won't have any issue getting there from the strip.
Mm. Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be my third race of the year.
Yeah, we got to make some picks, don't we?
Hell yeah, we do. You're up first this week. So I had Bell last week. You had Byron. They finished second and third as far as picks to win. Who you got this week?
It's a tough one, man. I'm going to go William Byron.
Can go Byron 2 weeks in a row?
Yep.
I like that. I can't I think I'm gonna follow the same strategy. You went Byron last week, you're going Byron this week. I went Bell last week, I'm going Bell this week. Christopher Bell.
I like it.
Beats
You just Jordan
Kyle
jinxed
Larson.
my bet.
Oh, I jinxed the fuck out of that.
Shit.
Although the first Vegas race I went with Ty Gibbs and I didn't jinx that. So
yeah, but you jinxed Zane Smith on lap 4.
Oh, fuck yeah, I did. 36 for 36. We both had good weeks. You gained 4 points on me. I had Allmendinger, scored 44 points. You had Chase Elliott, get you a healthy 48 points. Definitely a lot more than I got from him. I got 23.
My only regret, Jordan, is, all right, I was going to do the dinger at Glenn and Elliott at the Roval.
Mm-hmm.
Or sorry, Elliott at the Glen and Dinger at the Roval. And because I was so far behind, I had to try something. So I switched it up. If I had done Elliott at Watkins Glen, he would have had 38. And I'd done Dinger here, he would have had 44. And I would have been able to put Byron maybe or somebody at Bristol. How many did Byron get at Bristol? I didn't look that up. Byron got...
Wait. Chase didn't have 38 at the Glen because I had Chase and he had 23.
Sorry, 23. What? Chase Elliott. Yeah, 23. Sorry, I would have, 23. 44. And then Byron at Bristol. So now I'm all confused. Where am I? Byron at Bristol. He had... Oh, Byron crashed, didn't he? Or something. Yeah, he had 26, right? So if I just stuck with that, I'd be only 4 points behind you. Yeah. So if I just hadn't gotten cute, I'd be 4 points behind you. Although, to be fair, I probably wouldn't have used Byron at Bristol. I might have used somebody else. Like Larson, maybe, and been ahead now.
God. God.
My getting cute ended up biting me. But I was so far back, right? Like,
yeah.
I was so far back. After Atlanta, you had 703. I had 635. I was 68 points back. I figured I had to do something.
Yep.
But if I just stuck with the plan of Elliott at Glen, Allmendinger at Roval, it was Bristol, Kansas, and Dega that I really closed on you, and I could have gotten even more at Bristol as a result.
Yep.
I don't know what I would have done. Maybe I would have done Ricky at Bristol though, and it would have screwed me.
That's true. Yeah.
So yeah,
I think
tough to say.
Yeah. But it's not. It's definitely not over yet. You're only what 26 points back.
Yeah.
Yep. And you got a chance to make up some points this week. Who you going with at Vegas? I'm assuming you're going Larson.
I thought I was saving Larson for Homestead, right?
That's true. Who are you going this week?
Well, Noah Gragson was really good in the first Vegas. Finished 6th.
Yep.
The only problem is Noah Gregson's also really good at Homestead. That's his best track in Xfinity was Homestead.
Mm-hmm.
If I go look at Noah Gregson's driver rating, in the Xfinity series at all the different tracks. So let's do that. I need to pull up driver rating and average. Yeah, Homestead, he had a 130 average driver rating while with Junior Motorsports.
Wow.
His next best track was in his non-DNF races. So I'm just looking at only non-DNF races. His next best track was Darlington with a 123 average driver rating, right?
Jeez.
So, which is the Homestead comp. So now I'm almost like, well, maybe I should go Gragson at Homestead instead of Larson. Because if I look at Larson in the Cup Series, Larson's best track by driver rating is Homestead at 133 with Rick Hendrick. It was also his best for Ganassi. He had a 115 average driver rating at Ganassi, which of course was a little bit lower. But both Ganassi and Hendrick, his best track by driver rating has been Homestead. 133, like I said, for Homestead with Hendrick. Whereas Vegas, he's had a 131. So 133 versus 131. So not much drop off. And then Dover, a 121, which is kind of a comp as a steep track. So yeah, I don't know if I should go Larson or if I should go Gragson.
I feel like Larson gives you the best chance of 60
at Vegas or at Homestead.
At Vegas,
but at Homestead too. He has an even better driver rating at Homestead.
Yeah, but he's been so good these last few Vegas races.
But he's been so good, even better at Homestead.
That's tough. It's tough. I wish I still had Larson to use.
Where did you use Larson?
At Kansas, the last time he blew a tire.
Oh, man. Yeah, his driver rating at Kansas non-DNF is 112.3, but I think that, I don't know if I included that most recent one or not. I'll have to look.
Damn. Larson at Homestead since the last one,
the
2,
Kansas
3, 4, 5
did count. If I remove that, let's see what his driver rating jumps to. Yeah, it's 121.9 if I remove this Kansas race. But still not as good as Vegas or Homestead.
Larson, last 6 races at Homestead, 3rd or better in every stage except 2, and those 2 were 6th and 5th.
Oh, man.
I don't think you can go wrong either way.
Like
you said, he could max points both of these.
Yeah, exactly. So then it comes down to, okay, well, what about Gragson?
Yeah.
And like we saw Gragson really good in the first Vegas race, finished 6th. He was 9th at the first Kansas race. The most recent Kansas race, though, he lost some speed, finished 18th. So a little worried about that. He was yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Given how good he's also been at Darlington, though, in both Xfinity, in Xfinity and Homestead, I am kind of inclined to go with Larson here because Larson's pretty equal between Kansas and Vegas. Or sorry, Vegas and Homestead. But Gragson does have a Homestead bias in his results. So I am going to go.
Yeah, I think that's the best move.
I think I'm going to go with Kyle Larson this weekend.
Yeah.
I was saving him for Homestead, but once I did the analysis with Noah Gragson, I'm going to go Kyle Larson at Las Vegas.
Yeah, I think that's a good move.
I hope he gets 10, 10, and 35. So he gets 55 points or whatever it is, 57. Whatever the second most max you can get for whatever the max you can get is with not winning. Max stage points and second place finish, right? Because I want either Bell or Ty Gibbs to win.
Well, you probably want Bell to win then because my pick is Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, I'm just saying in my bets.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So your pick is Ty Gibbs.
Ty Gibbs, yep.
I'll say you had both Gibbs and Bell available to you.
Yep. You know what I'm saving Bell for.
Phoenix.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'm saving Blaney for Phoenix.
Yeah, I think both of the rest of our seasons are pretty much laid out. I mean,
I could almost pencil them in here, right? Like you do that with Bell. I'm doing Josh Berry at the only place he could be. This means I have Gregson left here and I have Blaney there. So then it just comes down to, looks like you would probably do Byron there and Rick there. Like 100%. Can already just pencil those in.
Yep. I ain't changing mine.
I'm not changing mine either, unless I flip flop the 5 and 10 right now. I'm not changing anything else.
Yeah. So for those keeping track at home, right now, unless Nick changes, I'm going Gibbs at Vegas. He's going Larson. I'm going Reddick at Homestead. He's going Gregson. I'm going Byron at Martinsville. He's going Barry. And I'm going Christopher Bell at Phoenix. He's going Blaney.
Yep.
You going to flop?
Nope. Locking it in.
Locking it in.
Our season is determined, basically.
You got 26 points to make up. Ty Gibbs blows a tire lap 4. Larson gets max points. This is going to be a fun contest.
I've made up 56 points in the last 4 races, and there's 4 races left. So 26 is nothing. You have the better drivers. You have a 24-point advantage on drivers based off their average performance this year.
Yep.
So I'm actually 50 points down, but I can make it up, you know? Like by quality, I'm 50 points down. So I definitely am a big underdog, and you can even see it just in the in column R and S here, just like the average. I'm basically 50 points down, almost on the dot. So yeah, I'm effectively 50 down with 4 to go. I need you to have a problem and my drivers to do very well, and it'll be close. So I think I said you're minus 1,000 a couple weeks ago. I think I said you're minus 800 now. I think you're minus 750 now.
Yeah?
Yeah. I gained on you at the Roval, but it wasn't a ton. Your AJ Allmendinger versus average was awesome. My Elliott versus average was good. But I did close the gap, which is important. So I think you're minus 750 favorite right now. I'd be plus 750 to win 36 for 36.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the biggest advantage I have the rest of the way is stage points. You know?
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a big thing. But like I said, you look at Kansas, I felt very good about having Larson there, and he laid an egg. That's all it takes. One race like that, and
absolutely,
it's wide open.
Yeah, I mean, Ty Gibbs hits the wall lap 1 on a blown tire. Lap 4 like Zane Smith or something, and I'm right in it. Especially if Larson gets near max.
Yep. Yeah, Larson gets max, and Ty Gibbs wrecks out lap 4. Fuck, I'm going to be down 30 points.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe even more than that.
But then it's going to be a dogfight. Okay, I want to see what happens if I do like 60 and you get 10. Right? Then I'm up 24. And then versus average, you're only up 7. So even though I'm up 24, you're actually up 7 because of driver quality. Yeah. It's neck and neck if that happens.
Oh, yeah. Then I could see it coming down to Phoenix.
Yep.
Which I ain't going to count Blaney out at Phoenix. You
know?
God,
no.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. All right. You got anything else for Vegas?
No, I guess the only thing would be on 36 for 36. If Bell somehow gets knocked out and Blaney is a championship 4 driver, and there's always that little championship boost. You know,
I'm I've said since like the first Phoenix race, I think Bell wins this championship.
I think he does too, but
that's been my mindset ever since. So I'm like, that's all I'm thinking. I'm thinking Bell's winning this championship. That's why I was saving Bell for Phoenix. And yeah, but I can definitely see. I mean, certainly Bell, knowing it's Christopher Bell, and anytime I have to rely on him or anytime I like him, he shits the bed.
Yeah,
I could definitely see him missing out on a championship race.
Yeah,
but in my head, that's how I see it happening. I see Christopher Bell making the Final Four and winning the championship this year.
Yep, I agree. Well, what are championship odds then right now?
I want to say
Bell's plus 450 at 365. I haven't
Yep.
shopped those, so don't take that as the best odds out there. That was just the first thing I had open. For at ESPN. Let me check Caesars.
Yeah, I think 450 is about the best. We're going to get him.
Yeah, 425 at Caesars. DraftKings, FanDuel. Let's check these. May as well. Let's end the show with that. Cup futures. DraftKings plus 450. FanDuel doesn't have championship odds as far as I see. Weirdly.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at too.
I did ESPN. Oh, BetMGM. It's like, what's the other one I'm thinking of? BetMGM. They have plus 425 on Bell, yeah. Bet 365 is cool though. They have championship outright. They have manufacturer, make round of 4. Let's look at that.
Yeah, I was looking at that the other day. Larson is plus 2. What would that be? Plus 240 to miss. Not make the round of 4.
Yeah. Bell's minus 210. Reddick's minus 150. Byron's plus 100 to make. Man, I think I might take Byron to make the championship 4. I mean, he's so good at all 3 of these tracks.
We said last week that, or we've been saying for a little bit, that it's the season of buying low on Byron.
Byron is so good at all 3 of these tracks. He was the 3rd best car at the first Vegas. He got the world's largest trash bag. He won Vegas last year. He finished 7th in the playoff Vegas race last year. I mean, the dude's on a fucking Vegas streak in the last 3 Vegas races. Finished 4th at Homestead last year. Has pretty sure has a win at Homestead. Yeah, win at Homestead 3 years ago. 2 years ago at Homestead, he finished 12th, but started on the pole. Probably got stage points would be my guess. Let's look. Yeah, he finished 2nd in stage 1, 3rd in stage 2. Something must have happened stage 3. But clearly was very good at Homestead 2 years ago. And last year, of course, finished 4th. Martinsville, he finished, what was it, 2nd in the first Martinsville race last year, I think it was. No. He won Martinsville earlier this year. It was the 2022 Martinsville race he won as well. So he has 2 Martinsville wins in the next gen car. Like
he also
he's
started
good at all 3 of these.
Earlier this year at Martinsville.
Yeah. I mean, the dude's good as shit at all 3 of these tracks. I think I'm going to take Byron, yes, to make the Final Four at even money.
I don't hate that at all. I like that. I mean, hell, he could lock himself in this weekend.
He really could, yeah. He's my pick to win.
Nice. All right. Anything else?
Nah. We good.
All right. Vegas. Then we're down to 3. Should be a good race this weekend, though.
Yeah, it really should be.
Definitely a lot better than the Roval. So enjoy South Point 400 this weekend at Vegas. We'll be back next week, talk about Homestead, assuming I make it back from Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I haven't been out there in 2 years. I'm excited. So it's going to be good to get back to Sin City.
And doesn't it feel like you could just take Toyota and Chevy winning championship manufacturer, both at plus money, and just make money? I can't see Blaney or Logano winning the championship.
I say that, but then I said that last year. You know?
Yeah, but it feels very different this year.
I agree.
All right. That's all I got.
Yep. All right. Good luck to everybody. See you.